Hello and welcome back to another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. I'm Kaiju Kim. Hope you're all doing well on this lovely afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. Tonight's guest has done some amazing work. He is a voice actor, he's done stuff for Tokusatsu, and he runs the Vintage Henshin YouTube channel, which where you can find the video essay we'll be discussing tonight, Ode to the Maser Tank. If you haven't seen that video yet, which you should, you can find the link to it in the description down below. And now, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Mach Dent.
I don't know. I was going to start out with the freeze frame. I'm thinking like, wait, should I do something special? And I was originally going to go for the Godzilla, but I'm like, nah, let's just do the TV freeze frame. That it's like.
No, you should have like turned to the camera. Like,
yeah, it's like. Like all this little thing right here.
Thing, oh shucks.
It's like, oh bless you, darling. Oh bless you.
Oh bless you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, good Lord. All right, let's see who
we are already off to the races.
Up in the chat tonight. All right, we got my buddy Nathan from the Monster Island Film Vault. What's up? And we got Valerie of Team Savage.
Hey.
Oh, Connor, the awesome shark guy. Awesome. And my twin, Donnie Winter.
Oh.
And Doomzilla. And let's see, we also got Maser Patrol. Hello, hello.
Hey.
And Godzilla Train 1090. Woo, we got a lot of awesome people here tonight, including you, good sir.
Oh, really? Including me? I would have thought I was an exception.
So speaking of you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself for anyone who may not be familiar with
you?
This
is the dangerous question of the evening. Just so you're aware. Okay, everyone, just get comfortable. I'm gonna have to explain everything. So, and so it was. On a mountain pass, there came a day like no other, where a young man emerged and said, yay, I love me some monsters and rock quarries and karate bugmen. And then he said, yo, I will make a career out of it. And with an explosion and maybe 5 Gundam model kits, a dream was forged in fire. I don't know where I'm going.
That was
with
brilliant.
This.
That's the introduction I have. You have a really knack for making amazing entrances.
Yeah.
Back to the Monstrosity's 9th anniversary stream.
Oh god. Yeah.
I'm never gonna let you live that down.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would hope not. I mean, you come in singing, the King Caesar theme. I mean, it's just. I still can't believe I hit that high note. I cannot believe I hit that. Oh, Silky deserves an Oscar. Oh, Donnie, you flatter me way too much.
That's it. No ripping and tearing
except.
There you go. There's ripping and tearing. That's better.
No. If I had more hair on the chest, I would totally do it. But unfortunately, I also got to keep this family friendly.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord. This is going to be an interesting show. Alrighty then. So.
Yeah. But it's, I guess, for the actual answer to the question, the proper answer to the question. So in addition to doing stuff for Vintage Henshin, I am a voice actor. You can hear me in Pokemon Masters EX as the roles of Elio and Raihan. Also in Welcome to Demon School Irma-kun Season 2, and then, well, not really Season 3 yet. I don't know if I'm going to be in Season 3 yet, but I've been credited as Runaway Romier. And then I'm also in the game Risk System, which is still out now on Steam and all consoles at this point now. It's everywhere. And so doing that. I'm a writer, occasional filmmaker. Like my shorthand bio is basically I'm a lot. And at this point, I have to wonder if it sounds more like humble bragging to people who don't get it. But every time I tell it to somebody, then I tell them everything. They're like, oh, okay, that does make sense.
So you just do all the things, basically.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I can do like one thing, and then I'll be like, no, that's enough things. That's enough today for today.
It's like, just move this one thing. Oh, okay, all right, we're done. Take 5.
I completed one task on my to-do list. All right, that's enough for today.
Yeah.
Good Lord. But I applaud you for all that you do. You do some amazing work, I gotta say.
Thank you.
All right, but before we talk more about your amazing work, you are a newcomer on the show, and therefore you must answer my questions 3.
Mm-hmm.
And those questions are: how did you get into Godzilla? What's your favorite Godzilla movie? And what is your favorite non-Godzilla kaiju movie?
Oh boy, these are all dangerous questions. Okay, so how to get into Godzilla? It was the last 5 minutes of Godzilla versus Megalon on channel 58 here in Milwaukee. So this is back when it was still a proper like UHF station. It's so for those who might be a little too young to remember, back in the day when you had like TVs with like the little like dials and whatnot, so you had like your UHF stations, and like mostly like syndicated stuff would be on there, and you'd have like the time of like the Saturday or like Sunday afternoon like movie or whatever. And so I'm just there randomly turning the dial, and suddenly it's the flying drop kick from the end of Godzilla versus Megalon, basically. And I'm just like, what the hell? This is the greatest thing ever. So, there's little baby Mach is just watching this, like, is absolutely captivated by this final battle. And, like, this bug thing is being held by this robot thing, and it's just getting repeatedly drop kicked to Kingdom Come by a flying Godzilla. This is immediately the greatest thing ever. The ending theme song is stuck in my head for a week. And and it just keeps devolving, and I can't remember how it was even like sung after a while. I have a very loose memory of it, and it isn't until years later that in a like a Toys R Us that I was finally able to get reunited with Godzilla versus Megalon. But other Godzilla movies did make their way into the house because what was it? My mom was always a fan of like creature features and stuff like that. So eventually, once she discovered that I was into this stuff, the stuff started kind of making its way in. So let's see. So that's favorite. So how I got into Godzilla. What was the second question? It was
favorite Godzilla movie.
Favorite Godzilla movie. Oh, the answer to this changes all the time, but I'll say Megalon. I think Megalon because it's like Megalon is like the distillation of everything you loved about Godzilla when you were a kid. It is like basically if you boil like the core elements of Godzilla down in a pot of why you love it. It's okay. So you've got the weird sci-fi stuff. You've got monsters just beating the crap out of each other, and maybe some Ultraman connection in there. I don't know, but like about that third one, but it's usually like somewhere in the mix. It's like a
discount Ultraman.
Exactly, the discount Ultraman. I just love how that thing was designed mostly out of spite, if I remember correctly. So, and then as for my favorite kaiju flick,
non-Godzilla kaiju film,
non-Godzilla kaiju flick, I think it's going to be Gamera 3.
Okay.
I think which is like, it feels like a safe bet, but it's like I'd say Gamera 3. I still think it's just an absolutely fantastic movie. I mean, the story kind of falters, but you still get like a crazier spectacle.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Because it's like you're getting like all this like exposition through an Ian and stuff like that. It's like, hey, do you remember this one moment from the second movie that you were thinking about? Well, what if it was this? And actually it was this. And all this being explained to you by like a Silicon Valley hipster, basically. Man, like, what was it? He managed to create like a fortune telling program on his Dreamcast or something like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't weird, it wouldn't be kaiju. So.
Exactly. Yeah, for me, it will always be that shot, like colliding into the train station, where it's just that perfect mixture of like digital and like analog. Just gives me chills every time.
And Doomzilla says we're getting an SH Monsterot's Iris. Ooh.
Don't remind me. like I saw it and I'm just like, oh, you sons of bitches! You're out of part of my French. Like you absolute monsters. How dare you? And immediately I'm just like kind of pawing at the glass. But oh my goodness. Yeah, because I know that's like there's the Kiryu that's coming out too that I also want to get because I'm just a shill for Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like they're putting out too much junk. I mean, I've had a dream, I've had a vision the whole time, and it's the spaceship from Space Sheriff Gavon, the one that turns into the giant space dragon. They're finally making a Soul Chogokin out of that for years after teasing it, and I've wanted it forever. And they keep showing it in magazines and expos and stuff like that. And I'm like, one day it's coming out. I'm saving my money for it. It's going to be $300, but it's going to be worth it. And they finally unveiled it. And I feel like the crazy man with like the sandwich boards, saying like the end is nigh, like finally, like finally having my faith rewarded. It's like, I told you it's coming. And I'm just like counting down the days because they haven't given me a release date. So,
oh my goodness.
So I see Iris and I'm like, yo, Final Temptation. That's it. The cast me in a Godzilla movie is the crazy dude, just like with a sandwich board. I'll totally do it.
All right, if I ever make a kaiju film of my own, I'm definitely casting you as an extra.
Yes.
Oh, good Lord. All right, so we have one more thing to do before we get into our main topic. We're talking about your video essay, Ode to the Maser Tank, which you spent a lot of time on. You put your heart and soul into it. So
2 years and $500.
Oh my! Wow, we'll get into the nitty gritty of how that came to be in just a moment. But I figured since you spent so much time looking at Maser tanks,
oh
I
no,
thought we'd play a little game.
Oh no.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the first edition of Name That Maser Tank.
Oh no. See, the worst part is it's not like that. If I get this wrong, I'm going to look bad, but if I get it right, I'm also going to expose myself further. So how dare you pin me against the wall like this?
I mean, the opportunity was there. I took it. All right, let's get going. All right.
Okay, that is the Biollante. It's like I keep calling it. We want to call it the Type 92, but I know that's it's definitely from Biollante, because I can tell by the back net because that was from the lightning capture device thing. Mm-hmm. So okay, but yeah, I'm gonna say the Type 92.
All right. Yes, the name is the MBT 92.
All right. Yeah. It's like, oh god. Okay. So, because like I had like the designations like memorized for almost a year, and then it's just like, okay, the video's over. Now I can just forget them.
All right. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay. CLT. Yeah, I think this is the CLT 92. I remember that because the opening flower.
Okay. All right. I think I got a different name. I got DAGMB 96. Oh,
okay, the Type 96. All right. Yeah, because it's like the designation you have whatever that, and then you have like the CLT whatever. Oh no, CLT was the abbreviation because it was Cryo Laser Tank. Okay, so it was the Type 96. All right, so my bad on that.
Okay, all right, that's all right. All right.
Oh god,
you might be able to get this next one. Let's see.
Okay. Oh god, yeah, that's the. Yeah, no, yeah, well, that was the really god awful. The 67s from the from Gigan.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I have here. It's a Type 70.
Type 70. That's right. I know it because I remember that, but I forgot how they flipped it. So this is what happens when I take a nap right before the stream. But I'm remembering where they're from. I just forget the designations. So it's gotta count for something.
All right. I'll allow it.
Okay.
I'll let it slide. All right, last one.
Okay, that's the hyper laser cannon What was the designation? Crap. But yeah, but it was either the super or the hyper laser cannons.
Let's see. The designation is N100. That's what it says.
Yeah. Oh god, I would have been really impressed if I got all the designations like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
But
Oh wait, we actually have one more. You want to do one more?
yeah, let's do one more.
One more. Okay.
Okay, that is the Type 92 from Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. No, Type 90. That's what it was.
There we go. Type 90. Correct.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thank God there wasn't anything on the line here. The rec center would have been closed immediately.
Oh boy.
So...
Good job. I think you did good.
I guess. Undefeated. You're giving me too much credit, Draw Jam. I get it. I've been drawn a corner. Do what you will with me. Oh my gosh.
Alrighty, so now that that's done, I hope you enjoyed your little pop quiz there.
Yeah. Yeah, just sweating like bullets. I'll probably lose another like 5 pounds off of that. Oh my goodness.
You're welcome. So let us talk about Ode to the Maser Tank. Now, I wanted to get you on the show right after the video released, which is like 6 months ago, but life got in the way.
Yeah.
But we're here now, and now I get to pick your brain.
Okay.
So you put your heart and soul into this for 2 years?
2 years, yes.
Wow. So walk us through the process. Like, what sparked a fire inside of you that made you want to do this, and how did you go about it?
Hello, there came a day. No, no, there was. I think what it was is like, see, back when I started Vintage Henshin, I was like, okay, let's just fly by the seat of my pants, and if I have a really good idea, I'm just gonna run with it. But then, so it was like, okay, so we did the first episode, which was Ultra Rewind, and then I'm like, okay, cool, let's review the toys that made us. Then it's like, okay, well, then let's do the Lost VHS Zone, and then Rise and Fall of the Shogun Warriors and all that stuff like that. But I'm like, okay, well, which in hindsight, I wish I had made that episode 4 of like the main series proper as opposed to an episode of extra. But live and learn. Yeah, but I was just like, yeah, no, like let's go into Maser tanks, because like they've always really fascinated me, and just in terms of the history and stuff like that. So the plan was to have that come out like immediately after, but then I got held up because I think it was like almost a little bit after that is when I started working with Shout, and so I got held up doing a lot of stuff for them, and then a bunch of other stuff was happening, and then it just kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and then I'm like, okay, well then 2021 we're gonna do this, it'll be great, and then it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And one of the biggest problems immediately was just getting the information right and trying to track down all the sources, which was a nightmare. But oh my goodness, it was definitely an undertaking that went a little heavier than I'd anticipated, but it was definitely something that I knew I wanted to cover and have like a lot of fun doing in the process. And then finally, last year I was able to pull the whole thing off, and it was a bit of a Hail Mary, but we'll talk more about that, I'm sure.
Awesome. All right, I'm being yelled at in the chat. There's Maser planes. Yeah, I know, but I only want to do the tanks because we wanted to get to talking about the actual.
It's okay. Yeah, nobody cares about the Maser helis. No, I shouldn't say that. They're not that bad.
I just wanted it to be a short gig, guys. I'll do a part 2 when he comes back. All right.
Oh God. Why?
Because you're awesome.
Oh, nice save. So y'all can find me on Vintage Henshin if they're ready. Bye.
Get back here, you. Real quick, just want to say hello to Matt Frey.
Hey, Matt.
Awesome.
One of our executive producers now, actually.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, the higher tiers on the Patreon, it says we only got 4 spots, and if you chip in the highest amount, you get an executive producer credit. So he is one of now 3 people who have claimed it.
Awesome, awesome.
So,
So, all right. So back to your wonderful project there that you spent 25,000 years working on. So as
it wasn't that long.
it felt like it when you were making it.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my gosh.
So as someone who edits videos for a living, I also edit videos for a living. So I was very impressed with the presentation and the editing style in the video. So did you draw any inspiration from other content creators, or is this like your unique style?
That's a good question. I mean, I think I've mentioned before, like Defunct Land's always been like a huge like influence and stuff like that in terms of how like I kind of want to push myself, like or the direction that I kind of want to end up. And I feel like maybe it was a little bit of that in there. But other than that, I think it's just over the years of just my own style kind of coming out. Just trying to find like that right blend of like, the entertainment and then the education, but still having a little bit of fun with it at the same time. So it's like for every little bit of trivia and for every like poignant moment, you'll still have me yelling about the fact that we didn't get Maser Tanks in Godzilla versus Kong. And which is still one of my favorite little non sequiturs throughout that entire episode. Like I am so happy that joke landed. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I noticed some really awesome shots in the video. Let's pull up a still here.
oh,
So how did you achieve this?
okay, so actually I have the models here. So this is the Type 66 Revoltech Maser tank. This cost me a pretty penny. I ended up having to get this second market or aftermarket, but this is part of the Sci-Fi Revoltech collection. And so what I ended up doing was putting that literally on top of a reflective clear file that I had, put that on a cardboard box, and then I literally put that in front of the diorama mode in the Godzilla game for PS4.
Ooh.
I mean, that was actually a huge part of it. Like, if you might have a couple other shots in there that might have yeah, for like a lot,
Yeah, there's like I noticed quite a few. There's
yeah, like yeah, like there's like the CG shot of like the Super X and stuff
oh
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, like
Let's see if I can
let's
scrub through it here.
see if you can get there. Yeah, I can point that out.
Uh,
Yeah, like the shot of like the Super X3 and whatnot.
where did it go? I just had it.
Okay, there we go, right there. Yeah, that is actually from the Godzilla game, the diorama mode. So the pain in the butt for that is mostly like trying to figure out where to position the camera and how to maneuver it so that way you're getting like the right passes and stuff like that, so that way it's not looking like too artificial. Like that at least looks like a decent flight shot in that it took a couple of passes. And then that was just getting those elements, which I think I don't remember if I had to go through the game to try and unlock any further ones, but essentially, if you did have the game, if you have the diorama mode built into it, and so as you play through the game, you unlock different monsters and stuff like that. But me and my dumb face, I immediately unlocked all the defense team stuff right away. So like I had like a row of Maser tanks and like a row of like the Maser helis and like the Gotengo and stuff like that. And it's just setting that up, doing my passes, and then running that through OBS. So I would just capture the footage like using OBS and then bring that in, add some video gunk to it to make it look like it was like from an old videotape, and the rest was history basically. I think there have been people who've used that mode using like actual live footage from the game, but then like really cool like shaky cam effects with it to try and give it like a kind of like a found footage feel. But either way, that game really spoiled us rotten in general in terms of like tools you can use for stuff like this. And I feel like if there's anyone out there who wants to dabble or to try and like get your kind of your hands dirty in terms of like, oh, this, trying to figure out like how like a tokusatsu set works or how to shoot your stuff or figure out your lighting and stuff like that. That's definitely a good way to go. And so, I mean, you can get the game for like next to nothing now. I think it's like $20, but it's like delisted now in the PSN store. So you might end up paying more, unfortunately, with the aftermarket. So yeah,
things cost money.
Yeah, but yeah, so the PS4 Godzilla game has just I mean, I still think it's a fun little like kaiju simulator. So it's fun there. It's not perfect, but it's still a good time. And when you have that diorama mode, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. Like that was specifically made for diehard nuts like me, for what I call peak Oyaji hours. Basically, like the peak old man hours, where it's like, okay, like you're the 35, 38-year-old person who's just like, you're buying those like time slip Glico like trading figures, the lineup on your desk with like your Chogokin Yamato that was made specifically for you, and you're all while you're blasting the Galaxy Express 39 soundtrack, but you're still holding down a 9 to 5.
Nathan says that's $200.
Oh geez.
Oh no.
Oh boy. So yeah, it has been going up in price. Oh boy. Yeah, Sasagai aftermarket. What's the M stand for in Mazer Camp? It is microwave, actually. It's like microwave amplification stimulated by the emission of radiation. That's how I remember that. Like I stumbled through it, but yeah. My favorite little anecdote in the research was just the fact that it's still like the predecessor of the laser, which almost was called the loser.
What did the O and loser stand for?
It was like, I think it was like oscillation, like light oscillated by the stimulation of, or stimulated emission of radiation, I think. Something like that.
That's weird. Yeah. How different would it have been if they had gone with loser instead of Mazer?
Yeah.
bring out the loser tanks.
I mean, it wouldn't be wrong. I mean, I guarantee you, like, people wouldn't even be using the name. It's like, bring out the. It's like all right, everyone. Well, bring out the loser tanks. God,
Godzilla's acted a fool again. We got to bring out the loser tanks.
Yeah. Like, people would have come up with a cooler name, like the Magnavolt 48K beam stuff. I don't know. It stands for microwave, hence why it stood a chance against Godzilla for a brief moment. Yeah, that was the whole thing with it. So, but yeah, it's so funny going back and watching those educational films where people are just staring directly into the laser beam as it's like
That's not how microwaves work, and I don't mean the kitchen appliance.
Listen.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That was the whole plot point in Galactica 1980, but let's not go there. No one needs to remember Galactica 1980.
Bring out the loser tanks. Sir, we didn't think that one through.
Oh my gosh.
So what would you say was the most challenging part of this project?
Well, I think the whole part where I had to kind of just throw everything out and start fresh. So I got, 10 minutes into editing the whole thing. And then I'm like double checking the footage, and I had asked someone to verify it. And then I realized, oh gosh, no, I screwed this up. Oh no, I screwed this up. Oh gosh, I got to throw all this out. Okay, I got to verify a whole bunch of stuff now. Oh, no. And so I had to just start from scratch and do everything. Second time that's ever happened to me. The first time was during the Rise and Fall of the Shogun Warriors. And I got like a few minutes in, and I'm like, oh crud, I got my dates wrong. So I had to like gut a lot of stuff out and just rebuild the whole thing. Yeah, like that's part of the reason why it held back for 2 years, and because I did that and I got so stressed out that I burned out. So that ended up holding that off. But I think it was that, and then I think the final bits where I decided to start doing miniature shots. The big thing about that was like, I mean, apart from the stuff that I did with like the Revoltex was fine, but I also got like these guys, and I have one right here because it's my favorite. This is the part of a Gashapon line that came out about a year ago, and so it's like these were the little bonus things of like the JSDF. So you had like this and the cryo maser tanks and stuff like that, and for each one you got like a chunk of Godzilla or Destroya, and they were selling them individually on From Japan, so I got a whole bunch and I just lined them up for that one scene. But the problem is, I unfortunately got double carpal tunnel surgery a couple of years ago.
Oh.
So I lost a lot of my grip strength. So if I'm holding like a steady cam or something like that, my hand will shake like just a little bit, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So I was using a gimbal, which was, auto stabilized, but I still had to just try to hold it and try to make sure that everything was going smoothly. And that took a while. I think it took me like 7 passes for like that one big shot where you see like Gomer 2 in the back, like that one smooth pass. And then there's the one where it's like I'm trying to slide on the table and get like everything, like the sort of like museum-esque display. But unfortunately, there's a bit of a stutter. I tried to put like some old like film effects in there to try to mask it, but there's only so much you can do.
Mm.
But like that was like the one challenge, but it was also the most rewarding. I mean, I had the most fun doing those shots, and I think one of the biggest innovations was Premium Bandai had put out the what was it? It was the HG structure set. So it's like a whole tokusatsu set for your Gashapons. But it was structured by or set up by the art director from the Gamera series, Toshio Miike. And so it's like you have like a full set and a matte painting to work with. And I utilize that heavily for like a lot of the later shots in it. Everything else I was crazy, and I put like the models and stuff like on like the back railing or whatever outside, and tried to make sure that there was like no like electrical wires and stuff like that showing up top. I mean, I think there's like one part where I just gave up and I'm like, whatever, I'm pulling an Ano, you're just gonna see it. But yeah, like a lot of those miniature shots, like that was another big challenge, but it was definitely rewarding, and I definitely want to do more of it going into the next season.
That's awesome. And I would like to see more of that. And what would you focus on if you were to do something else like this?
I don't want to reveal too much at this point. The only one that the only 2 things that I kind of talked about before will be an episode focused on Jerry Anderson, which I have a couple props for that ready to go, and I'm really excited to shoot the heck out of it. So it'll be Jerry Anderson's effect on Japanese special effects, which there's a lot, and there's a lot of ground to cover on that. And then another one will be the long-awaited sequel to Lawless VHS Zone. So I've got some plans for both of those. They're going to be pretty fun.
Really fun times.
Yeah.
All right, we got a comment from my buddy Michael Hamilton. Hello, Michael. One of the struggles of being a creative, we see the flaws we know we should have done, but the audience who this is for will never think twice. They will appreciate the work for what it is.
Yeah, it's true. But unfortunately, tell that to my inner perfectionist.
Yeah, perfectionism. That's like one of the main killers of creativity is perfectionism.
Yeah, it is. And that was another thing that was kind of getting in the way of this, because I was trying to get everything just right. But there's so much stuff that just clicked in that back half of production, because I was just so determined. I'm like, I'm going to do this. We're going to make this happen. We're going to go for it. And my good buddy Jared over at Xenofauna kind of came to my rescue, because he's like, hey, Mike, if you're looking to like verify a bunch of research and get these like blueprints, I've got like a Inoue book we could use for that, and I've got a bunch of other stuff. And I'm like, I will scan that in for you. And I'm like, great. And so he's like going in and he's just like scanning at like pages upon pages upon pages. And the bulk of everything, the bulk of the blueprint scans that were in the episode are because of Jared. Jared, he was just so absolutely wonderful. But then, of course, the best part was at the 11th hour asking him, hey, I kind of want to do something different for this newsreel intro. Would you be willing to help me out and do some set dressing? And he's like, would I? And he tore apart his bedroom for me.
Wow.
To make like a whole rig, like a whole dolly rig, and made like a whole set, like, like a whole back set with like a Godzilla poster and like all these little Easter eggs and science books adorned next to the old television set, and then patched his like he has like a bunch of old TVs that what he'll do is he'll patch like the AV outputs to, like a laptop or something. Yeah, this whole sequence right here, this was all like 11th hour. I mean, I did the graphics and the voiceover on my end, and he just piped everything through that television set.
That's amazing. It looks so like seamless.
Oh yeah, and it's nuts. It's yeah, it was a miracle. I'm definitely gonna have Jared help me out on a couple more things for the next season as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we've already been talking about stuff.
Ooh,
so
put me in contact with him. I might need him for something later.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, throw some cash at him. He'll totally do it. Right. I mean, he's doing commissions and stuff right now. Even, I mean, you can get a customized kaiju puppet from him for like up to like starting at like, I think it's like he's starting at like 1,500.
Ooh, that's almost as much as my rent. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like
rightfully so, though. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, the work is good. If you ever get the chance, follow Xenofauna on Instagram, and you can see the bulk of the stuff. Also on YouTube. Shameless plug. How I hit my hand on the desk. So I am a class act.
Laura wants to know, are you planning on doing another unheard of tokusatsu? I found Chosuku Parahiro Gandin. I can't. I don't know how.
Oh yeah,
words are hard.
Yeah, Chosuku Parahiro Gandin. Yeah, we'll be doing a viewing guide pretty soon. February is always like the quickest month for me, and January was so busy because we were because I was finishing off stuff for Discotech for Black RX and a bunch of other stuff. So I ended up having to kind of like just focus on like a couple of little things here and there. But March, I'm going to be doing another viewing guide. So there'll be more stuff to talk about. And I'm looking forward to that because there's a lot of really cool stuff.
Awesome.
Also, it's nice to see you got out of the basement. I'm like, oh, gee, thanks, Laura. I really appreciate your faith in me. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was
such love on the show.
I know. I almost missed the feeling of the knife right between the shoulder blades.
Good times to be had by all. All right. So, as you were working on this project, were there, I'm sure there are points where you were like, all right, this is taking too long. Forget it. The world doesn't need to know this much about laser tanks. I'm done.
You'd say that, but then of course the perfectionist in me was otherwise just like grabbing me by the neck and just shaking me like an idiot. But what it was is to get a little personal. So like 2021, everything kind of fell through. Like I was trying to do more stuff for the show, but a lot of stuff fell through at the same time. So I was doing like littler, smaller stuff. I did like the Tokusakuga, we're doing like the viewing guides and whatever. And but it was still just like, I didn't have like a lot of the motivation. I was really burned out. But a big thing was that, unfortunately, my dad was not in the best of health last year. And so I think part of it, the motivation to finish it was, I think one, I wanted him to see it. But the other thing too, was just like, I needed to throw myself into something. And it just felt like that was the right move. And so like over the summer, that summer, in addition to working on it, like, I was doing physical therapy, to making sure my dad was okay. And then also doing, but also throwing everything I could at getting the, that episode done. And he got to see it. He loved it. He was so proud. So, but, oh my goodness, it just felt like I need to get this right. I've set a standard for myself and I can't slouch too much. The only problem is like, the closer I got to completion, like you're hitting that point where you're just like leaning back in the chair and you're just like, make this cut here.
Oh, I felt that in my soul.
Yeah, because like when I'm getting to like the final array of shots, it was just a great tip for anyone wanting to be an editor is just when you're reaching the point and you're like, okay, you're missing like maybe a couple frames, whatever fills the space works. Just do it. And that's what I ended up doing for a lot of it. And I'm just like, okay, it still looks good. Tweak here. Okay, great, wonderful. Okay, great, it's done. I'm sleeping for 2 years, But yeah, it was worth it in the end. But yeah, there's just some times where I just did not have the energy and the motivation. And it was funny. What brought me back into it was making of footage. Was watching Tokusatsu making of footage from I think it was Ultraman Taiga, and what it was is Vintage Henshin got really successful and very well known very quickly, a lot quicker than I had anticipated, and that brought a lot of attention on. And unfortunately, there were a lot of people who weren't like respecting boundaries. So I was getting DMs and emails and stuff like that from people like saying, "Oh, you should do this episode. You should do this episode."
Oh my god!
And I had one person basically go to my business email and just bombard me with like 5 consecutive emails back to back to back to back to back.
All right, PSA: if you're thinking about doing that, don't do that to anybody.
Don't. Yeah. And it just was killing my motivation and to do anything. And I just was so burned out. And between that and a couple other things in the fandom that had happened at the time, I was done for a while. Like, it wasn't enough to kill the channel, but it was just my motivation with that and like all the stuff going on with my dad. It was like at an all-time low. But what happened is these rips of the Ultraman Taiga box set just kind of fell in my lap, and I'm a sucker for special features, and so especially if it's a kaiju flake, and it was the making of Ultraman Taiga, and you're watching people assemble the buildings, do the cuts, put in the gunpowder, and set up the action cameras, and like with my limited Japanese, I was able to kind of follow along and pick up the lingo, and I just was like so enthralled. It was like that same feeling I had when I saw those last few minutes of Godzilla vs. Megalon all those years ago. And it was just like, I was right back there. And I just was so enthralled. I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, I want to do this. Like, this is awesome. And like, I would just call my friends in on a Discord call. I'm like, guys, you got to see this. I got the making of, like, and we're all just watching this. We're like, oh my god, this is pretty awesome. I'm like, I know, right? It's like dude, like a person in a costume just hurled himself through plaster and explosives, which is what happened. And the whole process of that is so fascinating. Like, I would totally do an episode on that if I could. Just and if only to hurl myself through a building with gunpowder and just do that, pull a Keizo Murase and just wear the suit myself and just fling myself and just do it.
I think that's on every kaiju fan's bucket list, just to
yeah. Well, that and go to a rock quarry and run through a field of explosions.
Oh yes, of course. I definitely want to do that one day. Jam wants to know, what program are you editing in?
I am a shill for Adobe, unfortunately, because it's what I am working with when I do stuff for Shout. It's I got to do it for workflow's sake, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. Because everyone's like, DaVinci Resolve, and I'm like, it's great, wonderful, but unfortunately, if we're doing workflow, and it's going to stop if I hand stuff over, so I have to do things a certain way. So yeah, so I do Adobe Creative. So I use Premiere. And Premiere's good. I don't like the extra step they put in terms of like doing the export, where it's like, oh, now you have to use this screen and stuff like that.
Why was that a thing? Why did they put that in there?
I don't know. It's so stupid. It's because I'm just like, just let me go right to Media Encoder. That's all I want to do, and I know it's going to take 5 minutes to load that up because y'all still haven't found a way to make that reliable. But just, I don't know. But I use
Premiere Pro too. I was just like, I love you, but I hate you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Adobe has us all so set. Yeah, it is, unfortunately. For the days when we could all just pirate like idiots. Yeah, back in the day when I was in college, and like if one person got a copy of Master Collection, we all got a copy of Master Collection.
I actually wanted to ask you this question too. How did you get the job with Shout Factory?
Hello? No. No, it was really funny. So how I got, the background with me is, like video and stuff like that. And I've been doing like little promos and whatever for like, the longest time. And then never mind that I have this, $60,000 degree basically. And but I was only doing like little things here and there. Like I did the Toku Timber promos for Jamie Noguchi, and like little things for like Super Art Fight and whatever, but I hadn't really hit like a stride with it. I hadn't really like done something steady with it. So fast forward to 2020, Let's Talk Toku goes on, and some very choice comments are made about Ultraman that we won't repeat. And a bunch of my friends at the time were like, dude, why aren't you on there? And I'm like, it's okay. It's not a thing. And they're like, dude, we need to get you on there to set the record straight. And so a bunch of people I know just, even before they started it, like a bunch of people were all going on Twitter and like tagging me, and we're like, get Mach Dent on there. He should be hosting, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, and finally, like, Squall, who was hosting at the time, was just like, finally like noticed and was like, yeah, no, shoot your shot. Let's go. And then I got on the show, and, we did the episode, which in hindsight, I'm kind of 50-50 on. I feel like I did an adequate job defending Ultraman, but the thing with me is, even at my absolute best, I steamroll. And you get, if you're in an interview with me, you got to be able to direct me or steer me the other way, because like otherwise I'm just gonna go on for 20 minutes. And there are people who hate me in that capacity, but it's because they don't know how to direct me. They don't know how to stop the steamroll. I've gotten a little better in the years since, but I will still steamroll if you don't stop me. So there's a little bit of that. And but like, yeah, the episode, I'm 50-50 on it. It was good. But I kept in touch with the main producer for that, Ari, who's like the main manager over at for the digital channels over at Chat Factory. And because he's like, yeah, no, with all this Ultraman stuff, we could use that, so, like a hand. Would you be willing to, give us some advice or whatever from now and that, every now and again? I'm like, yeah, sure. So then they put up the trailer for Hasty Generations Forever, and I'm like, yo, just so you know, if you're looking for trailers, here's what I'm capable of. And I sent my sampler, and he's like, yes, we need you, because you know what you're talking about. And so that's how we kind of got the ball rolling. And the first promo I cut was for the MST3K Gamera Marathon.
Wow.
And ever since then, it's just been like, I've been making promos. I've also been a consultant on a lot of stuff. And then eventually it started out as I was just going to be helping to co-produce and co-write the Ultrathon special. I ended up directing. Because it just got to the point where they're like, everyone just started deferring to me. They're like, it's like, oh, hey, Mike, how should we do this? I'm like, okay, do that, Matt, do this. Make sure you don't do that, but maybe do this, and this. And then someone else would come to me, and I'd say, the same thing. And then pretty soon I'm in a meeting, a high-level meeting with people from Siburai Productions. And it's just like, well, this is my life now. Okay, cool. I guess I'm directing it. Let's go. And then we ended up winning an award for all of our trouble. We beat out Disney and Fortnite. So
that's amazing. I'm jealous. Can you get me a job? Nathan wants a job too. we want get us both jobs, but me first because I'm because I'm pretty.
So everyone, you can find me at Vintage Henshin on Twitter.
Laura wants to know, why didn't you do the trivia for Shin Ultraman's
theatrical release? that was a different department.
You should have did that.
Yeah, that's a much different department. All I can say for that is respectable ruckus. Make your voices heard on socials, but just don't be a jerk about it. That's because I mean, people do listen, but I always say respectable ruckus, because they'll listen to constructive criticism as opposed to you saying, this sucked, man. Oh my gosh. How dare you, man. This should have had the Heisei numbering instead of this color grading from 1967. like I don't know. I'm just going off the top of my head. That, but usually that sort of thing. Let's see. But yeah, no, in terms of the stuff for Shout, it was just sheer luck. The best advice I can give when it comes to stuff like that is you can't always tell when the stars line up, but when they do, shoot your shot, but for the love of everything, don't like pin them to the wall about it.
Yeah, like constructive criticism is one thing, but if you're just
Yeah.
going to be straight up rude and disrespectful, like they're not going to take you seriously.
Oh yeah, like there was without naming names, when we came out with the Ultrathon, there were a bunch of people who were being super passive aggressive over the fact that they weren't asked to contribute. Instead of me being like, oh, well, maybe I'll remember you for next time, it became the opposite of these are the people who I will never work with and will go on my personal Rolodex. Because what you're showing there is I can't trust you to be like just in general, if you're going to mouth off like that. And two, I can't trust you to be emotionally mature to work with. And I kind of need that if I'm going to be working with people and bringing people in. And it's very much a don't come to me, I will come to you situation. And I usually bring in people. And for Ultrathon, it was bringing in people who I knew had the showmanship and could also turn out something really good, which is why, of course, we immediately went for TV's Mike Toole.
Awesome.
So.
All right, so bringing it back to Ode to the Mazer Tank. So you spent so long on it. You faced some challenges in both in your personal life and content creation. So why was it so important for you to see this project through to the end?
Because I think part of it was years ago, I used to do a podcast called R5 Central. And the thing about that is I had so much fun doing that. It was an outlet. It was great. It was wonderful. My objectives with it changed over time. I grew up a little bit, but the problem was we never finished it. Because I was doing like these crazy story arcs and audio drama and all this stuff like that. And I never finished it. And to this day, it bugs the heck out of me that I never got to do like a solid ending to everything. I mean, an ending has been written, in a document somewhere. I haven't really publicly revealed it. I was gonna do a zine for the anniversary and then just release it to the world, but if everything fell apart with that, and that's when I knew, like, okay, this is truly dead. I need to just walk away from it. But I just hate the feeling of leaving something unfinished, and I know that disappointment fully of seeing like something I absolutely love not just not happening, not going all the way. And I knew that if I didn't do it, it would eat at me forever. And so that's why I went back for it. I like to be able to keep my promises when it comes to stuff like that. I like to be able to. I may not get them all the time, but we'll get there. It's like so with this, like I knew I had to get it done. Season 2, same thing. It'll happen. I just have a bunch of stuff on my plate right now. And then, of course, the big one that everyone asks me about is when is the Subaraya versus Chayo thing happening, and that will happen when it is ready and when I am ready, because that's going to be like a multi-part like undertaking that a lot of people don't understand. That it's like it was. I think because it was. I have to blame Matt for this too. Our good buddy Matt from Monstrosities, because like, regardless of what he says, dude kicks my ass in the presentation department every time. And it's like, between him and the defunct TV documentary on who created the Disney Channel theme tune, which was like the emotional roller coaster of storytelling that it was. I'm looking at both of these and I'm like, this is where I want that to be. And I'm not ready to do that just yet, because there's like other interviews I need to conduct, and like I want to travel for that one and get better cameras and do all this other stuff. Like, it's going to be an undertaking. and that's going to happen. I think at this rate, it might happen. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a 5th anniversary thing. But knocking on wood as I say that. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Because I feel like even if I did it, it would be like that would probably take the place of a season. Don't we blame Matt for everything? I mean, we do. To be fair,
we do blame Matt for everything. It's all Matt's fault.
Yeah, we love him though. Yeah, no, we love him though. I love him so much. He's been so good to me. I mean, God, thanks to him, I got to be a kiter for one line. So that was.
Careful, he could be watching. If you're watching, Matt, we do love you. We hope you're doing well.
We do legitimately love you. I mean, we're not just pulling stuff out. So
if we didn't love you, we would not be blaming you for stuff.
Exactly. he's an artist. Yeah, he's an artist. Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh my goodness.
So you do a lot of videos on stuff that people don't really think about, like all the little details that people may not notice.
Yeah.
So I guess would it be safe to assume that you feel it's important for people to pay more attention to all the little details that go into making kaiju and tokusatsu media?
Yeah, it's one of those things where the sort of mission for Vintage was always making sure the right information got out there and making sure that stuff was accurate and stuff like that, and that was thoroughly researched and that it was all up to level, because there's so much hearsay. I remember somebody posted a thread on Twitter the other day where it was like, hey, share your favorite tokusatsu trivia. And so much of it is, my uncle who works at Nintendo told me that Kamen Rider was originally supposed to be about birds, that kind of stuff. And it's just like, okay. And I'm like, wow, this is really why I got to keep doing what I'm doing here. Because otherwise this stuff is going to persist. But yeah, I feel it's important. But I think the other part of it too is it's always about enhancing your appreciation. And part of what happened during that 2-year span was it wasn't just about making sure I had the right information or whatever. The mission became an adventure, basically, which is why I talk so much about the adventure when it comes to Vintage Henshin. This isn't just fandom. This isn't just me regurgitating Wikipedia facts. This is an adventure, and I always stress that. It's even we even changed the tagline for Vintage. I mean, for the longest time at the beginning of every episode, it's and now in anticipation of your insight into the future, which is from the final line of the Mobile Suit Gundam, what was it, the third Gundam movie, Encounters in Space. But it's just welcome. It's just Yokoso Bokene, welcome to the adventure. Or the final line, even if you watch to the end of Ode to the Maser Tank, is the true adventure begins now, or something. So that's why I think it should be, because you're searching, you're investigating, you're researching, you're finding, you're digging stuff out. You're finding that old toy from 1978. Finding a book you didn't realize you had before, or whatever, or discovering, oh hey, this one guy was in every production all along and he never realized it. All these little things.
I love that. It's an adventure. I love that you said that. It's video making is an adventure, because you go on this journey as you're learning all this stuff, and then
that's how it should be. That's how you should approach your fandom. That's everything. It's not just it shouldn't just be consumption. And if you're just consuming, I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice. Take a step back and look at the platter, as opposed to just raising it up.
That's amazing. Life is an adventure. Fandom is an adventure.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, my favorite sayings from Auntie Mame. Life's a buffet and some suckers are starving.
All right. And I think that's a fantastic note to end on. And but before we head out of here, why don't you go ahead and plug your stuff? What else and what you got coming up? You can
Oh,
tease some stuff maybe.
okay, okay.
Maybe.
Okay. So yeah, again, as I kept alluding to, you can find me Vintage Henshin on Twitter, also now on Instagram, vintage.henshin. Or I think no, I think it should just be vintage. Either way, you'll find it. You can also follow our mascot, Altia, at Altia_official on Twitter, where she continues to be problematic. At the same time, I'm on Twitch and also Twitter at Mach_Dent and on Instagram at Mach.Dent. Season 3 of Woken to Demon School Irmakun is currently wrapping up. You can watch that on Crunchyroll. Risk System is still out on Steam. I think it's on sale. So go get it. It's a fun little shoot 'em up, and you get to kill me in the first stage. I mean, what? And then apart from that, yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, and the big thing right now is, and yes, as Laura noticed, yeah, we've had the Patreon for a while, but yeah, if you go to the Vintage Henshin Patreon, if you join right now, I'm doing a exclusive series right now, in between episodes as we're getting ready to do the viewing guide, and it's called the Lost Tapes. So it's a series of about 5 to 10 minutes, little quick fire reviews like Tokusatsu and Tokusatsu related stuff. Episodes 1 and 2 are currently out right now. So far we talked about Rolling Bombers Special, which is my favorite Super Sentai parody of all time, and a Lost TV special from the 1970s that was recently recovered, called Fight Our Heroes Great Gathering, which is absolutely nuts and is worth going into. So all those are, again, our Patreon exclusives. If you can join for as low as $1 per creation, literally we just crossed 8,000 subscribers. If literally every single person watching the channel signed up at the lowest tier, season 2 of the show would shine like a diamond. So I'm just throwing that out there. And then we're also on Throne as well. There's a Vintage Henshin Throne page as well. You can help us get like research material and stuff like that.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's been a pleasure having you.
It was a pleasure to be on. It was a good time. I guess. No.
I guess. I mean, thanks for coming on to my dinky little channel.
Oh, shush. Oh, don't you, Stark. Don't you. Shaking by this. You are wonderful. You are a wonderful person. You are a great stream. Tell yourself something different. You're wonderful. I love you.
And on that note, you watching at home, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and my fantastic guest. If you had a good time here today, please leave a comment down below or send your feedback and questions to chillwithkaijukim@gmail.com. Don't forget to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe so you do not miss the next episode of Chill with Kaiju Kim. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. See you next time.
Peace.